So this week's video is going to be very different from our normal videos, and that is because we are finding ourselves in a situation this week.
And boy, do we have a story to tell you.
So it all started yesterday when we were leaving South Dakota, or rather we thought we were going to be leaving South Dakota. And we only got about 30 minutes outside of the Rapid City area before we started having problems with the RV. So we just had a really weird thing. We just had a couple of warning lights come on that said engine protection and check engine, and we lost power, and now all of a sudden we seem to be back in business. So keep our fingers crossed that whatever happened is just a temporary glitch and that everything's good to go. But
strange.
We'll keep it posted. That was very, very strange. And then scary, you know, it's just kind of scary because then your heart drops. You're like, oh no, what do you do? Everything else, but.
So we're leaving a city, Rapid City, so we're not going to be near any service stations, so.
Not for a little while anyway, so. All right, well, we'll just keep praying that was a temporary glitch. Fingers crossed. So fun times in the RV. We are currently in a safe spot. This is a doggy. We're currently in a safe spot. I just ate like one of those adult Lunchables, and I think he's smelling the meat and cheese on my breath. So we are at a service area, but just more like a fuel station area. And the RV definitely, there's something that definitely was going on. At this point, because of just how things are in the summer, all of the service centers that we called are completely booked and wouldn't even be able to get us in until Monday at the earliest, today being Friday. Just you be patient. And so right now, kind of the plan is we think we're gonna try to drive back to Rapid City and see if we can make it back there. The engine oil was a little low. We're gonna try an oil and filter change and see if that helps. Diesel engines do tend to be really sensitive to aged oil. So we're gonna try that and then just kind of see if we feel like that helps or not. We're a little bit reluctant to leave this particular area until we know that we're 100% good to go, because at least where we are here is a little bit larger area. There's more resources available as far as service centers, things like that. Once that we start kind of driving across the state and into Wyoming, it gets pretty remote, and even where there's more, it's more remote, like for cell service and things like that. So wanting to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a bad situation that way. We just want to make sure that everything is on the up and up before we leave. Thankfully, today was what we would have called a gap day, where we don't have any reservations at a campground for tonight. The reservations that we have in Wyoming start tomorrow. From where we are to where we need to go into Wyoming is about an 8-hour drive. So it is still doable within a 1-day time frame. So if we change the oil today and feel like that everything is good, then we could still easily make it to our campground that we have our reservations at tomorrow. So we'll just have to see how this goes, and stay tuned, because we're gonna keep you posted as we go throughout the day today and try to figure out what's going on with the rig. So we decided what we would want to do really is we didn't want to keep going, obviously, with problems and put ourselves in a bad situation. So we wanted to just kind of try to cover the bases that we can. One thing that we've learned in RV life, and just a tip for you guys, is try to cover the minimal bases first. We've paid a lot of stupid tax over the last 4 years of RVing by calling a service center or going into a service center to find out it was something very simple like a fuse, or just a very minor thing that we really could have done ourselves had we just checked those things first. So we really just wanted to make sure that we were doing, you know, what we could first on our own before that we kind of, you know, called in the pros. So we were able to limp it back to Rapid City. Ben and his dad and a friend of his dad's went and got new oil, you know, oil filter, fuel filter,
oil.
We just wanted to cover the bases that we could cover on our own. So on the ongoing saga of RV mishaps today, we made it back into Rapid City, at least. I have an appointment at the cat dealer Monday morning at 6 a.m. just as an in case. Right now, Ben and his dad are working on trying to change the oil and the fuel filter. On the way back in, it ran fine just going down the highway, but as soon as we come to a stoplight, it was dying. And so something obviously is not right. It shouldn't be dying at a stop. So we're going to try that and then take it out and drive it around, see if that doesn't take care of it. If not, then we're gonna have to figure out where we're gonna stay. The hard thing is right now is that there are literally no campgrounds to be had. There is like limited to no overnight parking available in places. In fact, the parking lot that we pulled into just kind of at the city-run civic center right now, somebody already stopped by and told us there's no overnight parking, which we weren't planning on parking it overnight. We're just trying to get a repair made on the fly. So could be interesting if this doesn't fix it and we have to try to find a place to even just have an overnight parking spot for the next couple of nights here in the Rapid City area. I did a precursor check. Like, everything here is so expensive right now with it being in the middle of the summer and like the big tourism season. And the other thing too is like with just tourism coming back right now, it is ridiculous what prices are doing for lodging, for just anything at all when it comes to travel. So anyway, fingers crossed that this takes care of this and that we can just get back on the road with just this, you know, kind of maintenance, and kind of learned a little bit of a lesson too, that preventative maintenance is maybe something you should do before you head out. I mean, we thought we were okay mileage wise and stuff. We really were okay as far as we technically weren't due for an oil change. We technically weren't due for fuel filters, but things can happen while you're on the road. You can end up getting some poor quality fuel, just lots of things that can happen. So anyway, starting there, and we'll see where we go from here. And yeah, keep you guys posted. So it is stressful. Like, one thing I want to just talk about, it's like, I cannot tell you that pit you get in the middle of your stomach when all of a sudden there's like a warning light coming on the dash or whatever. And then, you know, just not knowing what a repair is going to cost. I mean, you know, we do have, you know, an emergency fund. We try to plan for emergencies in just a financial respect, but it's never fun. It's never fun having to spend money if that's what you end up having to do. So anyway, stressful, but we'll make it through. One thing that we've talked about too with RV life is that we really hope that we show our kids how to handle adversity in a way that is gracious, in a way that is not breaking connection with those next to us. As far as, you know, we're not screaming, we're not yelling, we're not trying to blame anybody or anything. We're just trying to push through what we need to push through to get problems resolved, to be able to move forward. And so if anything, we really hope that that's one thing, that situations like this at least become a life lesson for our family and for our kids moving forward. So we'll let you know what that lesson ends up being at the end of all of this. And we thought we had the problem fixed. All right, so as of right now, we think that we're okay. Change the oil, change the fuel filter, and ran it down the interstate and back, drove it for probably a good hour, and then drove it in town, because that's where we were having probably the biggest problem, was actually like in town. So it seems to be on the up and up. So fingers crossed. We are gonna go just run and buy Ben's dad some dinner, because he was so great to help us out and kind of rescue us a little bit with extra tools and oil drain pans and all of that kind of stuff that we just don't have with us when we're on the road. So we're gonna go do that and then get back on the road. I don't know if we'll still make it to our intended boondocking spot tonight, or we may end up just finding a different place to boondock for the night that's just within a little bit shorter distance, but we'll still have a little bit of ways to cover tomorrow into Wyoming. Went and drove it down the road for a while, seemed to be okay. Decided we would just go have some dinner, came back to the rig and had a really hard time starting it.
Supposed to be doing that. Come on. Yes.
So we spent the night in Cabela's last night. which was fine and it worked. And thank God Cabela still has overnight parking. There's very few places that have overnight parking.
Yeah.
And all of the campgrounds here are booked solid right now. I was trying to see if there was a campground that we could stay at. No option for that. It is a weekend, and so of course weekends in the summer for campgrounds are a little bit harder to get in anyway. So a good thing to remember is, you know, when you're in a situation where it's just the emotions are high or the stress level's high, all of that is just high, it's a good idea sometimes to just sleep on something and to just, you know, take a few minutes, relax, rest. That's what we did. Slept, decided we'd make a decision this morning after we felt well rested. I had a chance to shower, which is always a plus.
Smell a lot better.
Makes you feel better. So researching this morning, I found that there is a service center that I didn't see yesterday when I was searching. And at least on the website, it says they're open today. They had some good positive Google reviews from actual other RVers. So we're just gonna go over there and kind of plead our case and hope that they can at least get us in. We have a feeling it's probably something somewhat simple, like maybe the second fuel filter that we couldn't access ourselves very easily or get to. So we're just gonna go over there and see if they can't help us out. So good news is we stopped at this particular truck center and they can at least take a look at it this afternoon, which at this point is better than waiting till Monday. Just so that we don't lose more of our reservation to do the Tetons than we would if we were waiting till Monday, since today is just a Saturday. But right now, I get the lovely task of emptying out this back closet, because to access the top part of the engine, you have to go in through this closet floorboard, which we're not sure if they will or won't need to do that, but on the in case, it's just always a better idea to make sure that they have got full access to everything that they could potentially need access to. So here we go, emptying the back closet out, because this is what happens when you have a diesel pusher. So that's what I'm going to be doing now for the next however long to get this emptied onto the bed. And fingers crossed that this is a simple fix and we can get back on the road yet today. So we'll keep you posted. We have no clue what we're doing at the moment.
Looking for that secondary fuel filter.
Here's the engine right here.
I can literally crawl down inside the engine bay. I'm in the engine.
This is quite the ordeal, taking apart the rig. I mean, Fleetwood at least makes it come apart somewhat easy. It's not like it's rocket science to take it apart, but you do have to take quite a bit apart. And when you're full timing and you have all your clothes and everything in the closet, it's quite the hairy ordeal to disassemble your whole life. Thankfully, most of our life is minimal, and right now it's all in the shower, so at least it fits there. But we didn't want to let a week go by without at least bringing you a video and some sort of update. And so really I feel like the takeaways for this week are, before you leave on a long trip,
do all the services.
Especially on a long trip, because you know, our home base is in Florida and we're in South Dakota right now. So thank God that we're in an area where we have a family member, Ben's dad, that is here, that at least was being, you know, helpful to be able to call in that resource last night. But having things checked before you leave on an extended trip, like Ben said, by a professional, is always a good idea. So definitely would recommend that. And then just, you know, if you run into a snag or whatever, and you need to make a decision that you feel like is maybe a little bit more of a major decision, being well rested and being in a place where you're just thinking clearer, I think is always a good idea and a good takeaway from just this whole experience this week. So
absolutely.
All right.
So stay tuned, and we'll see what happens and see if we can get this thing back on the road again.
We'll keep you posted on Wednesday's video. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications, make sure you do that right now so that you'll get notified as soon as that video comes out on Wednesday with an update for y'all.